I think that it's important to share these experiences so that you know that you're not alone when you do ultimately go through them, because at the end of the day, we are in the business of dealing with people and people are messy. What's up, Savages? You're listening to the Strategies of a Savage CEO podcast. I'm your host, Demi, and if you don't know me yet, it is no wonder you're not making the sales that you want to be making in your business, but that's about to fucking change. I've scaled my business to almost 8 figures in revenue over the past few years, and I've helped thousands of women make the money they deserve. Not through fluffy things like manifestation or energy work, but through real, non-BS money-making strategies that drive insane results. I'm talking things like crafting powerful content rooted in actual human psychology so that you know every single time you post it's going to convert. I'm talking about designing irresistible offers and building recurring revenue streams in your business structure. I'm talking about implementing real systems that actually scale your business into a 7-figure brand. It is time for you to go full savage mode with your business strategy to truly get the results you not only want but deserve. So let's get into the episode. Welcome back, Savages. You're listening into another episode of Strategies of a Savage CEO. And today we are getting extra savage, less on the strategy side today, more on just an open conversation about this industry today, because everyone loves to talk about how shady coaches are. You see coaches being called out all the time, right? It's typically a coach's fault for everything that happens in this industry, for why it is the way that it is. Most people don't talk about why coaches have certain boundaries in place. Most people don't talk about why, coaches create commitments or have these contracts or have certain like SOPs in place of the companies that they're building, because 9 times out of 10, it's actually the clients that are the problem. I'm just going to call it like it is. I have been burned by more clients in my years of doing this than I ever have coaches. And people don't call out the clients. And I think that anybody listening to this is going to agree with me. If you have ever dealt with a client that has been an absolute nightmare, clients ghosting you, failed payments, people that are out of integrity with their commitments, every single one of you will be like, fuck yeah, thank you, Demi, for talking about this, because nobody else does. Okay? Now I want to set the tone here because this isn't a bash fest. I want to bring in a conversation about boundaries. I want to bring in a conversation about integrity and what really goes down behind the scenes sometimes of online businesses, because we are on the internet. Let's not forget that. And I've seen behind the scenes of a lot of people that you guys are looking at online. I have seen behind the scenes of so many things over my years, especially working with many clients who I've helped handle client situations. So not even just my own situations that I've had to go through, but also my clients' situations that they've had to go through that had to be the one helping them through, right? So I just want to like bust this myth for a second, because a lot of people believe that coaches are the problem. You see the Reddit threads, every sad human on this earth, it's literally on Reddit that is bashing other people or has the time in their day. It's really unhealed people that you see over there, people that are in their victimhood, etc. And a lot of people say that coaches are the problem. Now, I'm not going to say that coaches are not the problem, because there definitely are some bad apples. 100%. Absolutely. There are some shady practices that happen in our industry, and there's no denying that whatsoever. I think you need to use discernment. You need to be an adult about looking at your investments. You need to make really informed decisions. I believe all of those things are true. Okay. Be the one that asks more questions. Be the one that talks to different clients. Like, I don't care what it is that you need to do to feel safe to make your investment. But we need to stop, we need to bust the myth that coaches are the only problem, because the twist is that it's actually a lot of the clients that show up with zero integrity or know how to actually lead in a conversation when they are hard, right? And I think that's honestly the saddest thing, is people that you see calling themselves leaders online not leading behind the scenes. Right. And so I want to have a different kind of conversation, because I want to bring the narrative back, because I think it's swung so far in one direction. And it's time to bring back that balance that everybody in this industry can be doing better. And like I said, I think the people that have, if you've gone through something where a client has hurt you, or you've been projected on by a client, or you've been lied to by a client, or you've been ghosted to by a client, or you've had clients break commitments to you, or whatever it might be, and it hurts because you're probably not the type of person that would do that. Like, I can never imagine, like, I literally would rather die than fail on a commitment that I made, or like, I literally would rather die than, I don't even know what it is. It's like, and I think there's a bigger conversation to be had here too. But it's like, I would rather cut my left arm off than be known as somebody who is out of integrity. And I think that there's a bigger conversation when things are unaligned, that there's a leadership conversation that gets to happen, right? When it's not out of integrity, let's just say if you're breaking a commitment, let's just say, right? But it's because of somebody not delivering on a promise. It's because you are completely unaligned in the container, but you are able to have an open leadership conversation about it. I think that's completely different. I think a lot of the issues in this industry would be solved completely, and people would feel a lot more secure in their business and have just like a lot less anxiety and all of these things if more people actually just were able to have hard conversations and lead themselves. Okay, so that's a topic for a different day. But I think what I want to bring to the table here is why coaches have certain boundaries and things in place. And I think that if you have been somebody on the receiving end of a disgruntled client, or a client that lies, or a client that manipulates and projects and all of these aspects and blames and ghosts and whatever, and is completely out of integrity, even though you see them showing up online lying in their marketing, or claiming that they're a leader, and it triggers you, I think you'll really appreciate this conversation. So I want to pull back the curtain and, on things that I've seen and that I've experienced, without naming names, of course, but I really do want to open up like a real conversation here, because I think that it's important to share these experiences so that you know that you're not alone when you do ultimately go through them, because at the end of the day, we are in the business of dealing with people. And people are messy. People don't know how to lead themselves. And you're somebody, like I said, it hurts you when you go through these things a lot, because you're somebody who would never lead themselves in that way. And you can't believe another human would have the balls even to do whatever it is that they've done to you. Okay. So, situations that I'll talk about here are clients that have lied on applications. Sometimes clients lie. They lie if they're doing the work. They lie about how much money they're making. They lie about the types of results their clients are getting. I had an experience a while back where I had a client that came in and told me she was in a very different position in business that made more sense for her to come into a certain offer than she actually was when we got into things. And things started not adding up in our conversations that we would have. I would ask about client stories, or I would ask about like different avenues of her business, and it would just feel like I always got a runaround. And that she made the first payment, and then the next month it failed. And I was like, what's going on here? If you say that you're at a point where you're making 50 grand a month, why are you failing on a payment? Why am I feeling like this is not actually the full truth of the story? And clients will, like, I've had that one experience where a client actually lied to be able to get into a certain container with me that was not actually meant for her. I would never have allowed this type of person to come in, or where she was in business, to come into a certain space with me, if I had known that she was at a very completely different space in business. So that's one way that like you might actually be burned by a client. And then guess what? Guess who's out? Time, energy, money, me. Because that person doesn't actually have the funds to continue paying for mentorship. She should have never been in the mentorship in the first place. So you have to be mindful that there are times when clients will lie. And if clients are lying on an application, then who knows what they're lying about in marketing. And for me, I'm like, I cannot work with anybody who is going to lie in marketing. That does not work for me at all. We can't do that. We can't. It's out of integrity. Okay? There could even be people that you have helped through hard situations, through their own client situations, that then they turn around and they do the exact same thing to you. That hurts. That hurts. I'll tell you one thing. I worked with one client for about a year, and worked with her for about a year. She was awesome. We had a great relationship, so I thought. She started shifting her niche, and I don't know what she smoked, what she got on, something happened where she completely like switched, it felt like overnight, and she started going in this completely opposite direction of what I had known her to do. And all of a sudden, she was just like, "Hey, can't pay for this month, need like an extension, whatever." I was like, "Okay, no worries. Let's see what's going on." She was saying that she hadn't reached a certain point in business yet, whatever. Her finances were tight. I'm always one to support where necessary. Like, if you're a client of mine, especially if you have a long-term standing relationship, you need an extension on your payment plan, whatever that looks like. Absolutely. That's not going to be an issue. I'm open to serving you. Gave her options. She accepted her options, whatever. She blocked me on everything, completely ghosted me. And I don't know what the hell she's doing today. Now, we have a contract. We could take that to collections. There was a good amount of money that she still owed. I had asked her multiple times to have a proper leadership conversation about this, right? Sent her messages, "Hey, checking in, haven't heard from you. Please, let's open up a conversation." Nothing. Just a few, I don't know, months prior, I had helped her through a client that was disgruntled and who basically was doing this exact same thing to her. Doesn't that blow your mind? That you can work with somebody for a year and have a very solid and what you could think great relationship with somebody. See them getting results. That's the other thing I'll say. See them getting results, right? I had helped this client have a $60,000 launch, another $30,000 launch. Don't know where the money went. Did she even have those results? Who knows? Like, I'm just kidding. She did. I'm just kidding. But when it comes to a point then when you see a client that then says, "Okay, well, this is where I'm at. I'm having all these issues, blah, blah, blah," but then still marketing online, "Well, you're going to make 30K months when you work with me," or whatever it is. Something's not adding up. Something's not adding up, right? And it sucks. It sucks because you're like, this person who I thought was a leader is not a leader at all. This person sucks. For lack of a better term. I'm kidding. She doesn't suck. She is a human. She is messy, but the way that she led herself is not something that I would hope or wish for any coach that I ever hired. Failed payments, ghosting, trying to emotionally manipulate a situation to get out of a contract, making up lies. There are a lot of things that happen in this industry, and I've been burned by more clients than I actually have coaches. And so I think it's also a conversation like, people like, let's just say there are conversations and there are threads and there are things all about the coaches. But there is nothing about where's the thread for clients, for coaches? Like, I need a 911 on who not to take on as a client. Like, where is that? All right, so I just want to flip the conversation for a moment because the coaches can in this industry, I truly believe have the best most of them have the best intentions to support their clients, right? I know that for a fact my clients have the best intentions on supporting their clients, right? But there is no like, where is the list? And maybe I haven't found it. And if you found it yet, please tell me. Like, is there a place I can anonymously go and be like, "Don't take on this person as a client"? I'm just kidding. I don't really have the time for that. But it would be nice to have the conversation just flipped on its head for a moment. And this is where the coaches can come together and say, "Hey, that client that did you wrong, it wasn't your fault. You actually gave them everything and more that you possibly could, and they just decided to lead themselves in an out of integrity way," right? And that sucks. And we can have processes and we can have those things in place to protect ourselves, like contracts and collections agencies and all of these things. But at the end of the day, how somebody is going to choose to lead themselves, that cannot be your responsibility as the mentor and coach as well. Okay? People forget that when you enter a coaching relationship, you're not really buying a product. You're entering a partnership, right? And if you break that trust, it affects so much more than just like your payment. It affects your relationship with trusting clients. It affects the way you view the industry. It affects like so many other aspects. And you have to be really strong as somebody, especially who wants to build a big business. Because, like I said, when you're dealing with people, Like it's wild out here. There are people claiming that they have seven figures, a year in revenue, failing on $100 a month memberships. Like it's beyond. But I just want you to like zoom out for a second. Like, what does this actually mean for our industry? Right? I think it means that because it's always the put on the mentors and the coaches to be the problem and never the clients. The clients are never the problem, and if they are, it's like if you talk about something that's a client problem, it somehow makes it back to it still being your problem. I don't know. Hey Savages, Demi here. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I've got a very quick but game-changing message for you. If you are ready to take your content from being a nice girl to a mother effing boss and not only create content that demands attention and respect, but actually attracts high level, high paying clients that see you as the authority and best option to work with, I want to invite you to come into my Savage Content Collective membership. This is the place where women just like you are taking my exact strategies for posting and content prompts and turning them into daily sales. I'm talking about women making $45,000 in just 3 weeks after a complete sales drought, or women that have been attracting five-figure pay in full clients and having their fastest sales ever after posting. If you are ready to stop guessing and start generating real revenue from your content, this is for you. And when you join, you're going to get immediate access to weeks of content prompts and some of my best social media trainings. If you DM me the word podcast on Instagram right now, I am going to send you a special discount to actually join the Savage Content Collective. It is time for you to stop posting any old content and actually start getting paid high ticket and attracting the best clients for you from your content. Now let's get back into the episode. But I think coaches are forced to now over explain or have that feeling of having to always over explain their value or bend boundaries or walk on eggshells to avoid being the bad guy. And this is why people get triggered, when you haven't put certain boundaries in place. And I think it's creating resentment. I think it's creating a lack of activity. I think it's creating exhaustion in the industry as well when clients lead themselves in that way. I think it's just really comes down to, for the coaches, you having to be extremely clear in what your values are for and expectations are for the people that you do want in your world. I am not afraid to repel. I'm not afraid to create this episode and talk about these things, because if you're somebody who wants to lead themselves in that way, you best stay the fuck far away from me. Like, I do not want anything to do with you. Like, when you come into my world, you are a person of integrity, of commitment, of like doing the work, of seeing each other as human. You are a leader. You are open to conversations and feedback. You are somebody who it's like the golden rule of life. Do unto others as you would expect them to do unto you. I believe in that so much. Like, I just know that there are so many people that I would never hire. And it's the people that, like, well, I can't see what they're posting now. Some of them have me blocked. But it's the things that, like, I cannot believe that people would lead themselves in this way. It blows my mind. And it's something that I've healed from. Like, I know that it's not my fault. I know that I do everything by the book. I know that I'm not perfect by any means, but I know that I deliver on what I am meant to deliver on. I know how I lead myself behind the scenes. I know how in integrity and committed I am. I know when I sign a contract, I'm following through. I know, like, you know what I mean? Like, and like I said, there are situations, this is, it's a big business, it's a big conversation. It's kind of a gray area, to be honest. There are so many situations where if there needs to be a break of a contract, okay, but there needs to be a conversation and a solution, like a resolution that both parties feel is fair on that end. There isn't like just ghost and peace out and like, I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. So I think we need to shift the conversation and how we move forward from this, right? Is like readiness and responsibility. When you make a commitment, be ready. Be ready to fulfill it. Come in with the best intentions. Lead yourself with integrity. We talk about like coach discernment and vetting processes and all of that, but like, when's the last time you updated yours? When's the last time, actually updated your application? Or when's the last time you actually looked at like the clients who were in your world and if they make you 100% happy, or, even the situations that did occur Maybe you've gone through something. Did you actually analyze? Was there anything you could have done better on your end for vetting that client? Were there any signs or telling signs that this client was going to lead themselves in this way? What are some of the things that maybe you might have overlooked or you tried to sweep under the rug because you just wanted to get that situation over with? A lot of your leadership is also going and refinements for your business and how to make it better is found in the things that went wrong. But you have to be able to like hold yourself and go through and sift kind of through what that situation was and why it happened. Ask yourself those questions. And if there wasn't anything that you could have done better, then that's okay. That's not your fault. But if there was, then go and make those changes, learn from it, be okay with it, and then move forward, right? Again, this is a two-way street. Client and coach, like it's a two-way street, right? So if you're listening to this and you've ever been lied to from a client or, had a client try to skip a payment or bail out of a contract with no good reason whatsoever, take a second to reflect. Know that like it's normal that these things happen. We are in the we deal with people, but the change in this industry that I think we're all looking for, it all starts with each of us, right? I think it all starts with how we work on our personal development. I think it all starts with how we are looking at how in integrity we are with everything. I think it's looking at, making sure our messaging is really attracting the right people and repelling the wrong. There's so many little tweaks that here and there that we can make. It's like, if you feel as a coach you're out of alignment with a client, be okay with firing that client. That's okay. You guys can part ways. Like again, it's a two-way street. Okay? I love coaching. I fucking love this work. Okay? Don't let one client, a couple bad eggs, like as for you as a mentor and a coach, don't let one person take your power, right? Don't let one person ruin it for the many that are in integrity, that do love you, that are getting the results, that would never think to like move in that way. There, like that saying is like, just like, don't let the one ruin it for the many, And as you grow in business, you're gonna have to develop a thicker skin for this kind of shit because it's going to happen and it's probably going to keep happening and it sucks, right? Especially if you are on the receiving end, right, of that. And I think that, you know, it, it's just like it's such a big conversation to have. It's a big conversation for me to hold as well, right? But like the thing is, you're here to lead, not here to babysit people. We're like these people are adults. We're all adults here. I don't have time for this shit. And it's crazy that some adults are still leading themselves like they're 16 years old, right? This is business. It is absolutely insane to me that people lead themselves this way, okay? I am here for the women that want a space with somebody who is just as committed to their integrity as they are. I am here for the women that value leading themselves in a big way. I am here for the women that are responsible and take radical responsibility for the way that they lead themselves and for the commitments that they make. I am here for the women that have gone through this and have been hurt in the past, but know that they are not going to let those shitty ass people and how they decided to move tear them down for the success that they know that they are meant for. So that's my thoughts for today. I think that it opens up a bigger conversation. Some people are not going to like this episode, and they're probably going to be the people that are, sad, unhealed, have maybe done this to somebody because they definitely had a reason. I'm just going to put it out there. But I think that the people that get it will get it, and the people that are here to build the big businesses will get it. And that's all I got. That's all I got for you. Just know that coaching is such it and mentorship, it's such a wear your heart on your sleeve business. It really is, especially if you're someone who really cares, right? Over the years, I've had to develop a thicker skin. I've been like harassed by people that I'll tell you one more story before you leave. She's not in the coaching industry anymore, thank God, horrible. But I remember there was this one client that I had when I first started. I fired her as a client because she literally made my skin crawl. Like she would plug in all caps. inbox her and be like, why the fuck is it not working? You're the worst fucking coach ever. Like, this Sally Sue over here is getting better results than me. Like, what do I need to do? Dye my hair blonde and be skinny in order to get results? Like, I'll never forget it. I literally went to therapy. I went to therapy after this client incident when I first started out as a coach. She told me I sucked. And this was after me helping her have a sold out launch the month prior. Like, this girl, she didn't need coaching. She needed therapy. And I see her empathetically as a human for what she was going through up here. But the way that she spoke with me and like tore me down to the shits was the worst coach. Like, I can still visualize the messages because I remember I was like so new and fresh into my coaching career. I had made help her make a $60,000 launch. She literally the month prior, she had like filmed me a testimonial. It was the weirdest shit ever. I literally had to go to therapy for it because I was like, I don't know how to move forward from this. I felt like I was in a freeze mode. I didn't even want to take on another client because I was so scared about this happening again, me being yelled at, called down to the dirt, like all of these things. I could not send money back fast enough. That was just a really crazy experience. But it's like these things you might have to experience these things as you grow a business, especially in this industry. And I'm not afraid to speak about this because I'm so secure in what I bring to the table and I'm so secure in how good I am at what I do and my ability to get clients results. And I'm so secure that I know like, and I'm emotionally intelligent and I take radical responsibility for myself. I'm always looking to better myself. Like, and I know that like I don't let ego get in my way. Like, I know I'm also not perfect, but I know that I'm always trying to better. I'm always trying to lead. I'm always trying to like support. And so I'm so secure and I know who I am and I know what my intentions are that, and I know my heart that nothing can really phase me anymore. But I think it's just important that I lead in some of these conversations because nobody else is having them. And if there would have been something like this for me to plug into when I was going through some of the hardest times that I had in business or some of the hardest client situations that I have had to have and lead through them, then I think I would have gotten through them a little bit better or I would have felt less alone. And I wouldn't have felt, I wouldn't have internalized things so much, you know? So yeah, that's what I got for you today. And I think that this is like the work and stuff that I do in my masterminds and with my private clients. And it's like these sorts of conversations and how to handle different people and situations that come up, you know, that you could never predict and handling them with integrity, grace, and leadership. That's the main thing that I want you to walk away with from this episode with is like, you know, you can't control what other people are going to do or how they're going to lead themselves. You can't, and you have to let it go. You can't control that as a business owner, as a coach, as a mentor. You cannot control what other people decide to do or what other people's values are. But you get to control you. You get to control how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself, and how you respond to certain situations. And I think that in those moments, your leadership is being built more and more. So if you've ever had to experience something like, I'm going to get emotional. If you've ever, you know, you can feel like your tears welling up in the back of your eyeballs. If you've ever experienced something like this before, I just want you to know that I see you and that I'm proud of you for handling these things that come up, but knowing that you're always going to be okay. And the other thing that I'll say that a mindset coach said to me one time is that, and this was like back when this is again from this client that I told you about, one of the things a mindset coach told me a while ago was one person does not have the power to ruin your business or, you know, one bad review or whatever it is, which is not even in its truth, right? Because I remember this client that was crazy. She started writing posts about me on social media. And I was like, my business, that's it. I was like, I remember this was like back in 2020. I was like, my business is done. No one's gonna hire me anymore. Oh my God. Like I would like had this whole freak out over it. And I remember her telling me like one person doesn't have that power. They only have that power if you stop showing up. They only have that power if you give them that power. Because the real people see through that bullshit. No one wants to hire somebody that's constantly bashing somebody else online anyways, or somebody who's in their victimhood about all they do all day is talk about all the hurt that a coach has done to them or whatever it is, or how bad an experience was. Like Go on Yelp, Karen, and fucking fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, go do something with your life. But I remember feeling like, holy shit, like my business is done. It's over. And even though I helped, and you get so frustrated, you're like, I fucking helped her. I literally was in the trenches. She had a 60, I remember the results. She had $60,000 launch. She told me I was good, and then she flipped on me. Flipped. And that can happen sometimes too, right? You're like, why the fuck did that client who used to love bomb me every day flip a switch? We used to be good. What happened? It's people getting in their heads, right? It has nothing to do with you. It has so much to do with the person on the other end. And again, it also is just about both of you being able to have real leadership conversations. But at the end of the day, you're the person that has to lead it. You have to be the one that has to lead. Like in every situation. So like I said, you can't control what other people are going to do, but you can control how you handle the situations that are thrown at you, okay? I love you guys so much. I love this work so much. I think that this is the biggest personal development journey that I have ever been on, that my clients have been on, is putting ourselves out here for the world to see, you know, helping people in intimate settings and building relationships and like building the business and the dedication and the commitment, everything that it takes. It is a big personal development journey. So I just want you to know that I'm also so proud of you for being here and for coming this far because you're here and you're still going. And that's more than what most can say. So I love you. I'm proud of you. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now because I could go on a tangent forevermore, but I'm gonna shut up. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope that it helps you in some way, shape, or form. Like at the end of the day, my content, the things that I do, the episodes that I make, it's all with the goal of just like if someone listens to this today and they feel a little bit more seen and they feel like they can just keep going and they feel like, oh my God, I'm getting emotional again. They feel like, that they can just be a little bit better for themselves that day or whatever it is. Just some sort of lift your spirit, reminder of who the fuck you are moment. If that happens for you today, that's my job done. And I'm happy with that. So we're going to sign off. Miller, where are you? Miller, do you want to say hi? There he is. We're going to sign off. We're going to go and enjoy a movie night, and I'll talk to you guys soon.